sure that he's secure because he's trusting me as a professional to support him. All right. You need to provide cadence reports, which means updates all the time. Update. If you would not update management or customers, for instance, the incident that I told you, 500 customers, each one with a revenue between $5 to $25 million a year. That's a lot of money, and you cannot talk to all the customers. You need to prepare a statement. You need to prepare a webinar. You need to send this out. By keeping customers up to date all the time, you lower, okay, the noise. You need to get in front of things. Okay, if you would wait, you'll be projected with too many questions, too many problems. You need to prepare a cue sheet, which means every question that you get asked during an incident, you need to have a response. And that response pretty much would go to anyone. Okay, pretty much. Everybody would need that response provided to them. So you always provide this cadence report, and you say every day between at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock, we'll provide a session for Q&A, anything, the update, and you need to get in front of the customers. So you need to have the team prepared with the forms, with the answers, PR, and everything working together. Involve all these stakeholders, all the business units. Okay, you don't know the technology, so you need the IT, but you also need operations, sales, HR, development, production, operations. You need them all. So they have to be involved in making sure that everything is working correctly during the incident and acceptance testing. And involve everybody, insurance, okay, internal public relations, external, everybody needs to be involved, also the regulator. And if you have a cyber insurance, great, but if you would not update him in time, he would hold you liable and would not pay you. So you need to always consult with him all the time. And take the lesson learned and improve on that, and I'll provide more. So how do you start? I'm sure everybody here talks about NIST, and of course, NIST is great, and you can actually, we like NIST because that's a general framework, and I'll share with you that I am part, if you would go to this link, you will see my video, okay, me as part of the INCD in Israel supporting NIST internationally. So I'm one of the supporters for NIST. I have a video on the NIST website publicly presenting Israel support for NIST. I'm one of the key supporters in Israel for NIST. So I contribute to this, and I think it's a great thing, but I know what I'm talking about. But if you would take NIST and you put it in Israel, what we do, I'm sure that you know that in Israel, we have a lot of experience dealing with, IEDs, explosive, we're pretty much surrounded and secluded. Okay, surrounded with enemy, secluded, we have a lot of wars. Okay, so we have a response. And I know this from my time in working in Israel in critical infrastructure and transportation for 8 years. So let's suppose there's an explosive. So how do we react so fast? How do we evacuate and everything's back to normal so quickly in 30 to 1 hour to 2 hours? And all over the world, people come to Israel to learn about how to manage these crises. So I took that methodology and put it to instant response. So we have what is called before and after, before the crisis and after the crisis. So before the boom and after the boom. So pretty much the pre-incident is what you do before the boom. All right. So the identify and the protect happens before in the pre-incident. So that's how you identify is actually discover all the assets. Okay. What are the assets? Inventory and protect, raise the wall. That's what you need to do before something happens. But then you have the incident. And once that incident happens, you go to the other side of you go to the 3 other parts of the NIST, which are the detect, response, and recovery. So this is what you need to do, and this is how you break them. And by understanding this and making sure that you have prepared those, the latter two are more important in terms of percentage. It's actually comprised around 70-30. So I would put most of my effort on these two first, then on the other three. But here's my more input to you. What you need to do is to make sure that for each section, if I do asset management, I need to make sure I have asset management also after. How do I comprise an answer to that following? Now do I answer access control during the incident? So I need to find for each one of the articles, each one of the domain categories, also in the other phase of after the boom, what is my answer? It needs to have at least one answer in one of the other three, or in all three, or two. The more I have is more defense in depth I have. So defense in depth, making sure that I have the same access control, not only in the inventory, where I talked about, okay, but also I have it in the detection, response, and recovery. So I need to have that built into each one of them. So once I have that, I'm able to build better security. So it doesn't happen overnight, but what you do need is to set your level, which means, okay, I am today at level 1, I move to level 2, I move to level 3, and I need to build this. So we like to take this both to CMMI and PPT. PPT refers to people, process, and technology, but CMMI is a level between 1 and 5. So what I would say to you is that if you were to look at this, the process, okay, and technology and the people need expertise. So you need to build this knowledge, as I said in the beginning. And that takes time. That's why you are here listening to me. I thank you for this. But the technology is mostly focused here. On the first two parts, mostly about technology, 70-30, okay? And the processes is more like 50-50, all right? But I would put most of my effort on making sure that the people get better knowledge to work with that, to recover. And that's why you need to test this. Without testing, without doing a cyber drill exercise, and I would suggest a minimum of 3 exercises. One, just a checklist, so people know their role and responsibility. Second, I would do an actual exercise with board of directors, with management to test them out, so they know how to make the right decision, what to follow. Practice makes perfect. Really, we know this from the Army. It prepares you like muscle memory. Okay, you know how to react immediately. Doing something, throwing a gun, it becomes a reaction. But you need to practice it. And then I would do a technology one. One is with them knowing, and the last one without them knowing, just to make sure that I separate the management decision making, which is a process, and the people. Then the people with the technology and the technologies are 2 separate realms. Realm for the management, senior management, and a realm for the technology. Don't try to combine them. That takes maturity of 2-3 years more. And to summarize, okay, we're in the last 2 minutes. I want to leave some time for Q&A, and thank you all. This is this key step that I've written, okay, that you can follow. You can take this picture. These are the steps I would know. Tell me what to do. So know your infrastructure network before the crisis, okay? Set up contingency plan. Okay, I don't know if anybody you follow, for example, NIST 837 talks about contingency planning, BCP management. So definitely have a contingency plan. Also, during a cyber crisis, it's the CEO responsibility for the organization. It's not the CISO. It's not the CIO. It's the CEO. It's a business impact. Okay, so senior management is leading this, not the CISO, not the CIO. They support his decision. They provide him with information, with understanding of the involvement. Okay, what is at risk. Also, if you don't have the expertise, invite someone as soon as possible. And here's a word of caution: before the incident, they need to know your environment, your IT, your personnel, your infrastructure, your technology before. It saves time. Time is impact. The sooner they react, it will become quicker. Also, form a team, okay, that needs to know who's managing endpoint, who's managing network, who's managing PR, who's managing operation, who's managing development. They need to work together and practice this. Also, a continuous assessment, involve up to date, as we've mentioned before, and update external partners as you go on. And also, test this out. Do a cyber exercise. This is mandatory. I wouldn't say anything more. It's crucial that we have a cyber exercise. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
I'll come to you, but first give him a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Quick question, very quick answer.
All right. Also remember, good security programs are built in, not built on. Don't wait. React. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick question. You mentioned about the post-incident learning. So, in your line of work in practice generally, have you ever analyzed, like, let's say, if you're solving a particular problem, fixing it, you're not introducing any other problems in the system later on? Like, is there any notion that you might visit that solution some other time?
Yes. Yes. For anything that you put there's always a risk of exposing something else or causing a difference. But again, you review it in the business perspective. Okay, so let's suppose you manage to solve that vulnerability, exposure, whatever. Okay, that predicament. But again, you need to verify there's no business impact, no technology impact. So you need to go back and test it. It's the same as pen testing. You fix something and you reassure that. You have to.
Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time. It's back to back to back to back sessions right here at the Dark Stage, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, we're actually going to be talking about the variety of and frequency of cyber risks. They're actually growing beyond our imagination. Organizations are actually constantly exposed to several threats, of which some may have negligible impacts and other considerably disruptive. Now, our speaker is going to be talking about how can cybersecurity